The sterile hum of the hospital room's fluorescent lights buzzed like a swarm of angry bees, but it couldn't drown out the guttural scream ripping from my throat. I gripped the bed rail until my knuckles bleached white, sweat stinging my eyes as the doctor barked orders like a drill sergeant. Push, Samuel, one more time, and in that suspended hell, I swore I'd never forgive William for talking me into this surrogacy nightmare. But then, with a slick, impossible rush, our son slid into the world. His tiny wail slicing through the chaos like a siren's call, and everything, every doubt, every lie we'd told ourselves, crumbled into irrelevance. William's hand found mine in the blur, his fingers interlacing with a desperation that mirrored my own. His voice a broken whisper against the din. "He's here, Sam. Our boy. Look at him. Couldn't. Not yet." My body was a battlefield, torn and trembling from the C-section they'd rushed me into when things went south. The room spun with the sharp tang of blood and antiseptic, nurses swarming like shadows, but William's touch anchored me. We'd sworn this was temporary. A pact born of too many whiskeys and whispered regrets in a Brooklyn dive bar 3 years back. "Just for the kid," he'd said, eyes gleaming with that cocky grin that always made my stomach flip. "We raise him right, then you go your way, I go mine. No strings, no mess, lies. All of it." Now, as they laid Elias on my chest, 7 pounds of wrinkled perfection, his minuscule fist curling against my skin like he already knew me, I felt the weight of forever crash down. His eyes, a hazy blue like William's, fluttered open, locking onto mine with an innocence that gutted me. Fatherhood. Christ, what a joke. At 35, I'd spent my life dodging roots, bouncing from one freelance graphic design gig to the next, chasing sunsets in dive motels across the Midwest before landing in New York like a leaf in a gutter. William was the anchor I'd always run from. 6 years my junior, with that effortless charm and a laugh that could disarm a bomb, he'd bulldozed into my world at a queer art collective in Williamsburg, all sharp wit and sharper cheekbones. We were fire and gasoline from the start. Stolen kisses in alleyways, nights tangled in sheets that smelled like his cedar cologne and my cheap takeout regrets. But we'd kept it light, or so we told ourselves. Temporary, we'd echo after every fight, every time his hand lingered too long on my thigh during movie nights. Temporary when we signed the surrogacy papers with Mia, a fierce lesbian from our circle who'd offered her body as a gift because family's what we make it. Boys. Temporary when the ultrasound showed a heartbeat, and William's voice cracked on the phone. "We're doing this, Sam. For real. Bullshit." It was always for real. From the moment he showed up at my door with a six-pack and a sob story about his deadbeat folks back in Ohio. We'd built this life brick by hidden brick. A cramped 2-bedroom in Bed-Stuy with peeling wallpaper we promised to fix. Sunday brunches at that hole-in-the-wall diner where the eggs were always runny but the coffee strong enough to wake the dead. Elias's warmth seeped into me, chasing the chill of thee or away, and I finally looked up. William hovered at the bed's edge, his scrubs borrowed and too big, dark circles under his eyes from the all-nighter vigil. He was beautiful in his exhaustion, hair tousled like he'd run his hands through it 1,000 times, lips parted in awe. "Hey, little man," he murmured, leaning in to brush a finger along Elias's cheek. The baby squirmed, letting out a mewl that twisted something deep in my chest. "Father." Plural. The doctor cleared her throat, snapping on gloves with a rubbery twang. "Vitals are stable, Mr. Hale. We'll monitor for a few hours, But you're both fighters. Hail. My last name, the one we'd hyphenated on the birth certificate in a haze of legal paperwork and quiet terror. William's eyes met mine over Elias's head, a silent question hanging between us. What now? Hours blurred into a haze of feedings and forms. Mia stopped by, her belly already softening, eyes misty as she cradled her rental one last time. He's perfect, she whispered, pressing a kiss to his forehead before slipping out with a wink. Don't fuck this up. You too. We laughed. But it was brittle, laced with the unspoken. By midnight, the room emptied, leaving us three in the dim glow of a nightlight shaped like a goddamn shooting star, William's impulse buy from some Etsy rabbit hole. He paced, cradling Elias like a pro, humming an off-key lullaby that sounded suspiciously like Springsteen. You should sleep, Sam, he said, not looking up. I'll take first watch. Like hell, I propped myself on elbows that screamed in protest, wincing at the fresh scar tugging under my gown. We're in this together. Remember? Temporary my ass. His steps faltered, gaze flicking to mine, wary, waited. Yeah. Together. But there was a shadow there, a flicker of something I'd glimpsed before. The night he came home late from work, reeking of gin and someone else's smoke. The way his phone buzzed at odd hours, silenced with a thumb that trembled just a bit too much. We'd never talked about it. Temporary bonds didn't need confessions. Elias fussed, rooting against William's chest, and the moment shattered. We tag-teamed the bottle, our hands brushing in the lamplight, electric, familiar. As dawn crept through the blinds, painting stripes on the linoleum, I watched them, my partner, my temporary everything, rocking our son with a tenderness that made my throat ache. This was fatherhood's first step, raw and uncharted, and damn if it didn't feel like falling all over again. We brought Elias home 3 days later, the autumn air crisp with the bite of fallen leaves crunching under the cab's tires. Bed Stewie welcomed us with its usual symphony. Distant sirens wailing like urban coyotes, kids hollering on stoops, the sizzle of jerk chicken from the corner bodega. Our building loomed, a 4-story brick beast with fire escapes like skeletal fingers, and William juggled the car seat while I fumbled keys with one hand, the other clutching a diaper bag stuffed like a smuggler's haul. Easy, cowboy, he teased, bumping my shoulder as we climbed the stairs. Elevator be damned, too unreliable for a newborn. You're gonna drop the kid before we hit the landing. Shut it, Whitaker. I shot back, but there was no heat, just the easy rhythm we'd fallen into. Whitaker hail. It rolled off the tongue like a curse or a prayer, depending on the day. Inside, the apartment hit us with its chaos. Stacks of onesies on the couch, a bassinet commandeered from the dining nook, burp cloths draped like surrender flags over every chair. William set Elias down gently, cooing nonsense as he unwrapped the swaddle. Home sweet home, buddy. No more hospital jello for Dad one. I snorted, collapsing onto the sagging futon that doubled as our guest bed. Dad one? Who's that? The alpha? You? Obviously. He grinned, that lopsided thing that crinkled his eyes and made my pulse stutter. I'm the fun uncle who sneaks you candy. The first week was a delirium of sleep deprivation and small miracles. Elias had colic, his cries a siren that pierced the night, turning our king-sized bed into a war zone of pillows and pacing feet. William took the graveyard shift, emerging at dawn with coffee breath and shadows under his eyes, while I handled mornings, diapers that defied physics, baths that ended in tidal waves. We moved like a well-oiled machine, or what passed for one in our ragtag family. Him snapping pics for the group chat, Mia demanding updates like a drill sergeant, me sketching logos on napkins during feeds, dreaming of the day I could afford a real studio. But cracks spiderwebbed beneath the surface. It started small, a forgotten grocery run. My snappish handle your own shit. Will, when he left dishes piled like accusations. Then the calls. His phone lighting up at 2 a.m. Screen silenced but vibrating like a guilty heartbeat. Work, he'd mutter, slipping into the bathroom, voice muffled through the door. I pretended not to notice, chalking it up to freelance stress, his copywriting gigs for those sleazy ad firms downtown, the ones that paid the rent but chipped at his soul. One rainy Tuesday, as thunder rattled the windows and Elias gnawed on my knuckle like it was teething gold, William burst through the door soaked to the bone. "Ty Askew," eyes wild. "Sam, we gotta talk." My stomach dropped, the hook of dread lodging deep. He paced the living room, words tumbling out in a rush. A client dinner gone sideways, too many drinks. A kiss in the coat room with some junior exec named Tyler, blonde, built, and begging for it. It meant nothing, he insisted, voice cracking like thin ice. A stupid slip. "I love you, man." This. He gestured wildly at the chaos. Bottles, blankets, the son we'd fought for. Love. The word hung, unbidden and unwelcome. We'd never said it, temporary didn't allow for poetry. But there it was, raw and bleeding, and I felt the betrayal bloom like ink in water, staining everything. "Get out," I whispered, not trusting my voice. Elias stirred in his swing, oblivious, and William's face crumpled. "Sam, out," louder this time, a roar that echoed off the walls. He went, door clicking shut like a guillotine, leaving me with a baby who didn't understand why Daddy was crying. The days after William left stretched like taffy pulled too thin, sticky and on the verge of snapping. Elias and I hunkered down in our fortress of one, the apartment a cocoon of half-empty takeout containers and laundry avalanches. I'd rock him through the nights, his tiny body a furnace against my chest, whispering stories of the open road, Nebraska sunrises, Route 66 motels with neon ghosts, to drown out the silence where William's laugh used to live. Fatherhood solo was a grindstone, sharpening my edges until I bled resentment. Feedings at dawn, playmats by noon, endless loops of wheels on the bus that looped in my skull like a curse. Mia checked in, dropping off casseroles with feminist manifestos tucked inside. "You're a goddamn warrior. Hail. Don't let that pretty boy dim your shine." But warriors crack. By week 2, the mirror showed a stranger, stubble like sandpaper, eyes hollowed from catnap stolen in snatches. I'd scroll William's Instagram in the witching hour, him at some rooftop bar in the village, arms slung around strangers, captions dripping irony, chasing sunsets and second chances. Each post was a knife twist, carving out the temporary lie we'd clung to. We'd met at that art show, remember? Him in a thrift store blazer, critiquing my exhibit with a smirk. Bold lines, Whitaker. "But does it bleed?" I fired back. "Only if you make it." And boom, sparks. Sex in the supply closet. A bond forged in stolen moments. Now, it bled plenty. Elias hit a milestone that Friday, his first real smile, gummy and guileless, aimed at the rattle I dangled like a lifeline. "That's my boy," I choked, tears hot on my cheeks. But the joy soured quick, imagining William missing it, off chasing whatever ghost had lured him away. I texted Mia, he smiled. Wish you were here. Her reply pinged instant. Video or it didn't happen. And call the asshole. Temporaries over. Sam. She was right. Damn her. That night, with Elias finally down in a milk-drunk stupor, I dialed. It rang 4 times, eternity before his voice, rough with sleep or something stronger. Sam, we need to talk. For him, I nodded at the bassinet, as if he could see. Park tomorrow. 11. Silence. Then a sigh that carried the weight of oceans. Okay. For Elias, Washington Park was a riot of autumn fury. Maples ablaze in crimson and gold, leaves skittering like frantic confetti underfoot. I pushed the stroller over cracked paths. Elias bundled in a knit cap William had picked out. Irony's cruel joke. William waited on our bench. The one by the arch where we'd first sketched dreams on napkins. A house upstate, maybe, with a yard for someday kids. He looked wrecked, thinner, jaw shadowed, that blue gaze skittish as a cornered fox. Hey, he stood, hands shoved deep in coat pockets, breath fogging the chill air. Hey, I parked the stroller, Elias gurgling at pigeons like they were old pals. We sat, space between us a chasm wider than the Hudson. He broke first, voice gravel, the smile. Did he do it yet? Yeah. Last night, I pulled out my phone, thumbing to the video, 30 seconds of pure magic. William leaned in, a ghost of a smile cracking his facade as Elias's face lit up. God, he's perfect. A beat. Then, I'm sorry, Sam. Tyler was nothing. A rebound from the fear. This dad shit is terrifying. What if I'm like my old man, gone before breakfast, back after dark with excuses? Your old man was a drunk, blunt, but true. I'd heard the stories, Ohio trailer parks, fists instead of bedtime tales. I'm not him, defiant, eyes locking mine, pleading. But I panicked. We said temporary, and suddenly it's bottles and blowouts, and I thought, maybe you'd bolt first. Me? Laughter barked out, bitter as black coffee. I'm the one who carried him, Will. The one who signed up for the scars. He flinched, reaching tentative for my hand. I let him, skin tingling like live wire. I know. And I hate myself for it. Let me come home. We fix this. For real. The word again. Love unspoken, but hovering. Elias cooed, waving a fist, and something in me softened, a crack letting light in. Slow, I warned, squeezing back. Trial basis. No more ghosts. Deal. His grin peaked. Tentative sun after storm. Re-entry was awkward as a middle school dance. Him tiptoeing around chores, me snapping at misplaced burp cloths. But nights mended us, Elias between, a tiny mediator, his breaths sinking ours like a lullaby. William cooked again, pasta Alfredo that didn't scorch, and we'd eat cross-legged on the floor, trading stories of our boys. Mine a runaway artist from Kansas dust, his a golden boy soured by small-town bigotry. Intimacy crept back slow, a brush of thighs during story time, his head on my shoulder at dawn feeds. Then, one electric Thursday, Elias down early, the air thick with unsaid. He kissed me in the kitchen, tentative, salt and need, and I pulled him under, hands mapping familiar terrain like lost explorers. We tumbled to the couch, gasps echoing off walls, bodies remembering what words forgot. Stay, I murmured into his neck, post-climax haze. Not temporary. Us. Us, he echoed, fingers tracing my scar, badge of our beginning. Winter barreled in, blanketing Brooklyn in gray slush and holiday cheer that felt like mockery. Elias's first Christmas. A tree crammed in the corner, ornaments clinking like wind chimes, lights twinkling against frost-laced windows. William went full Hallmark, eggnog spiked just right, Mia crashing with her girlfriend for gingerbread wars. Laughter filled the space, real and rib-aching, chasing shadows. But betrayal's echo lingered. Late January, I found the texts, careless, left open on the charger. Missed you at the bar last night. Tyler. Heart emoji. Timestamp 1:47 a.m. My blood iced. Vision tunneling as I scrolled. Flirty threads. Meetup plans disguised as networking. He walked in whistling. Snowflakes melting in his hair. Hey, babe. Elias napping. I thrust the phone at him. Voice steel. Explain. His face drained. Color fleeing like rats from a sinker. Sam. It's not. Don't. The word cracked like thunder. Elias stirred down the hall, a whimper threading the air. You promised. I know. But he reached out, and I didn't go. Swear it. Pleading, but his eyes darted guilt's tell. Out. Again. The door slammed, colder this time, winter wind howling in its wake. Alone again, I armored up, custody apps downloaded, locks changed in my mind if not the tumblers. Fatherhood sharpened to survival, playgroups with other single dads. Their war stories a bomb. Elias thrived, rolling over on the living room rug, his laughter a dagger and delight. William's pleas came via Mia. Flowers at the door, voicemails thick with sobs. I fucked up again. But I love you, Sam. Love him. Give me one more shot, love. There it was, weaponized. I almost caved, but pride held the line until the fever hit. Elias's temperature spiked like a faulty thermometer, hitting 103 by midnight, his little body limp and scorching under the cool cloth I pressed to his brow. The apartment spun in panic, thermometer beeping accusations, my hands shaking as I dialed the pediatrician, voice fracturing. He's burning up, Doc. What do I do? Advice rained down. Tylenol drops, sponge baths, ER if it climbs. I dosed him, paced the dim hall, Elias's whimpers carving furrows in my soul. Fatherhood's cruelest lesson. Helplessness, raw and unrelenting. Dawn found us in the ER waiting room, fluorescent hell lit by vending machine glow, other parents' ghosts in the chairs. Elias nursed fitfully at my chest, expressed milk in a bottle, a makeshift lifeline while I texted Mia. Fever. Pray. Her reply, on my way. Where's Will? Not here. Truth stung like antiseptic. Hours crawled. For lines snaking into his chubby arm. Doctors murmuring viral. Probably, but tests pending. Exhaustion clawed me, but sleep was treason. Then, the doors banged open. William, wild-eyed, coat askew, Mia trailing like a stern shadow. Sam. He dropped to his knees beside the exam bed, hand hovering over Elias's fever-flushed cheek. Jesus, why didn't you call? You made your choice. Cold, but cracking. Elias stirred, eyes cracking open to fix on him, recognition in that milky gaze. William's face shattered. This is my choice. Him. You. He scooped Elias's hand, minuscule against his palm, and whispered apologies to the air. Mia tugged me aside, her grip iron. He's a mess. Hale. Spent the night at my place, pacing like a caged wolf. Texts from that prick. Blocked. Deleted. He's all in or was, till you shut the door. I glanced back. William humming that off-key tune, Elias quieting under his touch. The sight gutted me, our family, fractured but magnetic. Discharge came at noon, RSV confirmed, antibiotics prescribed. William insisted on carrying the car seat, his strides protective as we navigated slushy sidewalks. Back home, he took over, meds on schedule, humidifier humming like a guardian angel. We moved in wary sync, words sparse but charged. That night, Elias stable and slumbering, we faced off in the kitchen, steam from chamomile curling between us like smoke signals. I can't keep doing this, I said, mug burning my palms. The slips, the secrets. It's poison, he nodded, eyes downcast. I know. Therapy, Sam. For me. The abandonment crap from Dad, the queer kid shame it's festering. But I'm done running. A beat, then, and you. I love you. Not temporary. Not anymore. The confession landed soft, a feather in the storm. I set my mug down, crossing to him hesitant, then fierce, our kiss tasting of salt and second dawn. Prove it, I murmured against his lips. Every damn day, spring unfurled tentative, cherry blossoms dusting bed stewy like confetti from a cautious god. Elias army crawled across floors, gums gnashing toys with ferocious joy, his fevers a fading scar. William dove into counseling group sessions at the center, homework journals spilling regrets like ink blots. Our talks deepened. Midnight confessions over decaf, his Ohio ghosts exorcised in whispers. I was scared of this, he'd say, gesturing at the chaos we called home. Real. Permanent. I shared too. My nomad heart, fleeing a Kansas farm where Dad's Bible thumped louder than love. Mom's silence a shroud over my phase. Thought temporary was safe. I admitted one rain-lashed evening, Elias teething on my shoulder. No one gets hurt. He pulled us close, trio tangled on the futon. Hurt's part of it. But so's this, his hand on my knee, Elias's sigh, love's quiet thunder. We rebuilt deliberate, date nights squeezed in, babysitter Mia roped for stolen hours at jazz dives where saxophones wailed our unspoken vows. Sex reignited, slower now, exploratory, reverent, mapping scars both seen and hidden. You're mine, he'd growl into my ear, and I'd arch, whispering back, ours, but drama's shadow loomed. Summer heatwave hit like a hammer, air thick as soup, and William's firm called, a promotion, Chicago branch, family opportunity. He brought it home tentative, prospectus gleaming under the fan's lazy spin. Bigger pay, Sam. House with a yard. Elias could have grass, not concrete. My gut twisted roots, but severed from ours. Chicago? That's 3 states away. It's not forever. 2 years. Tops. But his eyes pleaded temporary again. That old specter. Fights erupted. Me yelling about broken promises. Him countering with spreadsheets of stability. Elias picked up the tension. Fussing through nights. His cries a referee's whistle. Mia mediated over iced teas on her fire escape. Fight for New York. Will. Or lose them. He chose us, declined the offer. Voice steady in the boardroom call I overheard from the hall. Pride swelled. But so did fear. What else would test us? Climax brewed in August. Humidity a shroud. William's phone buzzed during a rare family picnic in Prospect Park. Tyler. Again. Voice oozing charm through speaker. Missed you at the reunion, babe. When you coming back? I froze. Sandwich crumbling in my fist. Elias smearing applesauce oblivious nearby. William snatched it. Face ashen. Wrong number, he hissed. But the damage bloomed. Betrayal's ugly flower. Petals of doubt unfurling. That night, storm clouds gathered mirror to my rage. How many times? I roared as thunder cracked. Elias wailing in his crib. How many slips before it's sabotage? It's over. He slammed cabinets. Dishes rattling. He's clinging. Sam. Shit. I blocked him months ago. Liar. Evidence mounted in my mind. Late logins. Cologne whiffs I dismissed as subway ghosts. We tore into each other, words like shrapnel. His accusations of my walls, my paranoia born of past ghosts, my hurling his patterns, the cycle of hurt he couldn't break. He stormed out into the deluge, door-banging finality. I rocked Elias, rain lashing windows like accusations, heart-pounding dirge. Hours later, a knock soft, sodden. William, drenched, clutching a sodden envelope. Divorce papers? No letters. A stack from his therapist. Confessions scrawled raw. Read them, he begged, shivering on the threshold. All of it. Then decide. I did. Elias asleep on my lap. Words blurring through tears. Admissions of fear. Love's terror. Vows to heal. Last page. I choose you, Samuel Hale. Every broken piece. For Elias. For us. Dawn broke watery. Us curled on the floor. Exhausted. Entwined. No more, I whispered. Or we're done. No more. His kiss sealed it. Fragile as new ice. Fall returned. Leaves carpeting streets in burnished gold. A metaphor we leaned into, renewal from rot. Elias pulled up on furniture. Wobbly stands that toppled into giggles. His mobility a whirlwind appending our world. William and I therapy tagged. Couple sessions in a sun-dappled office overlooking the East River. Unpacking baggage like customs agents at heartbreak's border. Vulnerability's your kink. The counselor quipped once, and we laughed. Real and releasing, hands clasped under the table. Life steadied. My freelance bloomed into a steady gig with a queer mag, illustrations that paid bills and fed soul. William scaled back hours. Freelancing copy that championed causes, LGBTQ+ campaigns, ads with diverse dads like us. Evenings ritualized. Park strolls where Elias chased ducks. Our fingers laced casual but constant. Intimacy flourished. Lazy Sundays in bed. Elias napping between. Our bodies a language of forgiveness. Yet undercurrents swirled. Tyler resurfaced via mutuals. A gala invite. Networking for old times. William showed me the email. Transparent now, his hand steady as he hit delete. See? Ghosted. Pride flickered. But so did vigilance. A scar's faint itch. Thanksgiving loomed. Elias 8 months of chaos and charm. And we hosted. Mia and her crew. William's estranged sister flying in from Cleveland. Awkward olive branch extended over pie. The table groaned under turkey and tofurkey. Laughter bubbling as stories flowed. His sister, Lena, eyed us wary. Mom's still praying for you. Will. The cure. He stiffened, fork pausing, but squeezed my knee under linen, anchor. Love's the cure, I said soft. For him, and she softened, toasting later with tears. To family, fucked up and found. Holidays peaked at Christmas Redux. Elias's first tree trim, chubby hands batting ornaments like prizes. William proposed then, not rings, but permanence. Move upstate, cabin I found, weekends only. Test routes without chains. I hesitated, New York's pulse my vein, but Elias's squeal at twinkling lights swayed me. Weekends. Trial. The cabin was rustic poetry. Adirondack logs by a lake that mirrored stars, wood stove crackling welcomes. First trip. Snow dusting pines. We bundled Elias for his inaugural sled, William pulling, me snapping pics, laughter echoing off iced waters. Nights, firelit, wine warmed, making love slow on a rug that smelled of pine and promise. This, he murmured, tracing my jaw, is forever, but forever's a dare. Spring thawed secrets. A letter arrived. Postmarked Chicago, Tyler's firm. Job offer Redux. Laced with barbs. Heard you're playing house. Offer stands if you wise up. William burned it in the cabin hearth. Ashes swirling like exorcism. Not tempted, he vowed, but doubt's whisper lingered. Climax crested in June. Solstice sun high and merciless. Elias's first birthday. Backyard bash at Mia's. Balloons bobbing like dreams. Cake smeared on his face in gleeful war paint. Laughter peaked, then shattered. Tyler sauntering in uninvited. Invited by a loose-lipped friend. Champagne flute in hand. Eyes raking William like territory. Will, he purred. Close enough to brush. Missed this. William recoiled, face paling. Not here. Ever. But Tyler laughed. Low and lethal. Come on. We both know Sam's the placeholder. Temporary. Right? The word detonated. World narrowed. Guests murmuring. Elias fussing in Mia's arms. My vision red-rimmed. I lunged. Fist connecting with Tyler's jaw, crack echoing like judgment. Chaos erupted, shouts. Mia hauling me back. William shoving Tyler toward the gate. Get out. You're nothing. Tyler spat blood. Smirking through split lip. Ask him about the hotel last month. Sam. Business trip. Lies? Truth? The seed planted. Festering instant. Party dissolved. Guests fleeing awkward. Leaving us three in wreckage. Cake uneaten. Elias wailing symphony to our ruin. Home was a battlefield. Tell me it's bullshit, I demanded. Packing a bag, Elias's too. Escape hatch primed. William's eyes. Wild. It is. A coffee. Nothing. Coffee. Sarcasm dripped venom. With your ex. In Chicago. Client pitch. Desperate. He grabbed my arm. Sam. Please. I wrenched free. Door slamming on his pleas. Mia's couch became bunker. Elias and I adrift in her guest room. Nights haunted by what-ifs. Days blurred. Work mechanical. Smiles for the baby masking fractures. William's texts barraged. Proofs. Alibis. Love letters digital and drenched. 2 weeks in. Breakdown hit. Elias down with another ear infection. Me unraveling in the ER again. Alone under harsh lights. Scalpel fear. Then salvation, William bursting in. Takeout bag in hand. Eyes red-rimmed. Heard from Mia. Let me help. Crumbled. Letting him hold us, Elias dosed and dozing. My head on his shoulder. Why? Will? Why him? Not him. Voice wrecked. Me. The fear. But I'm clean logs. Receipts. All of it. He pulled a folder. Meticulous. Timelines. Emails CC'd to therapist. Choose trust. Or walk. Trust. The gamble. Elias's hand fisted his shirt. Tiny anchor. And I nodded tentative truce. Summer waned. Us mending deliberate. Boundaries etched in stone. No ex-contacts. Open phones. Weekly check-ins raw as open wounds. Romance rekindled soft. Picnics by the lake. Elias splashing shallows. Our kisses tasting of healed salt. You're my home, William whispered one twilight. Fireflies winking witnesses. But humanism's grace is earned. Fall found us stronger. Scars badges not burdens. Elias's toddlerhood dawned explosive. First words, "Dada," Dual claimed. Steps tottering from us like baton pass. 2 years post-storm. Our life a tapestry woven tight, Brooklyn base. Upstate weekends blending urban pulse with woodland hush. William's book launched. A memoir of queer fatherhood. Raw essays that gutted readers. Royalties trickling like grace. My art show cycled city galleries. Portraits of us three in fractured light. Sold out. Critics calling it tender ferocity. Betrayal's ghost? Banished? Mostly. Therapy our religion. Anniversaries marked with tattoos. Matching infinity loops on wrists. Elias's initial etched inside. Tyler faded to footnote. A restraining order after one drunken voicemail. His world shrinking while ours expanded. Yet drama whispers eternal. Winter gripped hard that year. Blizzards burying roads. And William's cough started innocuous. Dry hack after runs. Dismissed as cold. By Valentine's, it lingered. Blood-flecked one dawn as he retched over sink. Panic clawed. Doctors rush. Scans whirring like doomsday clocks. Diagnosis landed soft-spoken in sterile white. Stage 2 lymphoma. Treatable, but war nonetheless. The world tilted. Prognosis good, oncologist assured. Pamphlets like lifelines. Chemo, radiation, remission odds 80%. But numbers mock fear. Elias playing blocks oblivious. We collapsed on kitchen tile, William's head in my lap. My fingers carding hair as sobs racked him. Not fair, he gasped. We just got here. I held tighter. Voice steady lie. We'll fight. Together. Temporary vows renewed in vows eternal. Sickness. Health. The works. Battle commenced. Infusions dripping poison sweet. William's frame whittling to sinew. Hair shedding like autumn's last. Elias adapted fierce. Drawing strong daddy pics with crayons. His hugs fierce as any drug. I juggled. Daycare drops. Freelance deadlines. Hospital vigils where I'd sketch his hand in mine. Veins mapped like rivers of resolve. Climax crested midsummer. Remissions tease turning cruel. Scan showing spread. Docs pivoting to trial drugs, experimental. Risky. William's eyes. Hollowed. If I go, promise you'll tell him I fought. For us. Don't. Tears hot. You fight. He did, steroids swelling him moon-faced. Nausea bending him double. But spirit unbowed. Park bench proposals renewed. Marry me proper. Sam. Before the next round. We did. Courthouse quick. Elias ring-bearer in tiny tucks. Mia officiating with vows we'd penned tear-streaked. In temporary ashes. We built forever. Fall brought pivot, trial working. Tumors shrinking like defeated foes. William's hair regrew curly. Defiant. Energy returning in waves. We celebrated small. Elias's preschool finger paints framed. family trips to the Cape where waves crashed anthems. But humanism tempers joy with wisdom. One crisp November eve, 4 years since Elias's wail first bound us, we stood on our bed-stewy stoop, him beside me, arms slung casual, as I watched our son take wobbly steps down the walk, chasing a leaf like destiny. We swore temporary, I murmured, throat tight, his hand warm in mine. He squeezed, blue eyes gleaming. But here we are. Fathers. Lovers. Whole. Elias turned, grin wide. Dada, come. We went, together, steps synced, the bond unbreakable. Betrayals forged, conflicts conquered, love's drama etched deep. In America's heart, amid sirens and starlight, we'd claimed our story. Not perfect, but profoundly ours. Human, to the bone. And as the leaf danced away, Elias laughing chase, I knew temporary was the lie, the truth we'd always chased.